tried to get to this, I think, 3 times now.
No, we will get to it. We will get to it.
Is
It's a promise.
we promise we will get to, is nicotine the best new pre-workout? Honestly, how many times have we tried to get to the nicotine? I think twice, 2 other times, right?
Just 2 other times, yeah.
Yeah. So this is third time's the charm. I will say I read quite a few articles in regards to the presidential fitness test. I just like anything when you're dealing with kids, I think there's obviously nuance. There's a lot of like, how is it actually going to be rolled out? I mean, there's just a lot to discuss here because on the surface it sounds really simple, but they haven't determined what they're going to roll back out. They're just saying they're rolling back out the presidential fitness test, and there's basically a committee to roll out what that will be. But my expectation is that it won't be, what was back in the day, like in the 1950s, it was rolled out. So are you guys getting that? That's the same impression you guys got, is that they have not determined what the new test is.
No, it hasn't been super clear yet. And I think the overall conversation is just this whole, like the whole reason it was phased out by the Obama administration in 2012, 2013 was that like competitiveness, percentile based testing is bad. It shames less fit kids, shames less athletic kids, versus like the flip side of the argument, which is like, hey, there should be standards that kids are tested on because it objectively shows if there's a level of fitness there or not. And, if they fall below that, we should be working towards getting kids to get there. So I think that that's kind of the interesting part of the conversation. I did see a really funny video that opened up with, since President Trump is giving us anything but the Epstein files, he's giving us the presidential fitness test back, which I thought was a pretty funny take. But yeah, I think there's some cool little debate in is competition percentile based bad, or is it is it discouraging, or is
Was
it
it
something
effective?
that should be measured?
I think the question when I was reading on things is that if having a tested system, so let me just be clear on this position. I think bringing this back overall is a good thing because it's drawing attention to an obesity crisis, and I think it's a national security issue. I think there's a lot of things. So I think overall it's good, but it depends what the test is, how it's administered, and what goes on. That's very nuanced and needs to be executed on the right way. But my question back would be, if this was the way, right? And in 1950s, it was Eisenhower, right? He brought in through 2013. Okay, so that's quite a while. But during that same period of time, obesity rates throughout the U.S. increased all the time. So like, if it was an effective tool, how come we didn't see things? I mean, obviously it could be modernization of food. It could be, there's so many factors. I'm just bringing that up as like a plain devil's advocate, right? On that.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a really tough correlation to make. I mean, the fact that the presidential fitness test simply existed during that time and
Sure.
obesity rates went up, like, bro. I mean, so much stuff happened from the end of World War II in 1945 to 2012. There's a tremendous amount of modernization, industrial farming, modern food production. You have obviously the advent of many different technologies that led us to a more sedentary type of lifestyle. The culture changes, all these types of things happened. And, one of the things that you mentioned is like, this is going to call attention to an obesity crisis. I mean, I don't think we need to call attention to the obesity crisis any more than it's already been called attention to. I think it's pretty clear that America is pretty out of shape in general. In general, I think that we are not doing our best when it comes to physical fitness. And, you can look at pictures from the 1960s and 1970s of what the beach looks like in those days, and you can just look at the general population and you can see a very stark difference. I don't think it's very overt, and I hope that this does bring more attention to fitness just in general for youth, and highlight the fact that like being fit is an asset, not a liability. Like being fit is not a liability whatsoever. It worked for me, bro. Like when I was in high school, I can only do 2 pull-ups the first day of freshman year. And I was looking around. I was like, thank God I didn't get 1 or 0, because 2 was really low, but there were a lot of kids below me that couldn't get 1 or 0. And I was like, I'm going to work my ass off to get pull-ups now. I don't care.
I correct me if I'm wrong, But there was also a time, because I was researching this, 'cause I was really curious about it. But the test has evolved and changed almost on a regular basis. Like, because I was looking at originally, I even saw one article that was saying that there was actually a softball throw involved in one of them, which
They took
as
that
it
out after
evolved,
they saw you do the throw,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Nah, we got to take that out."
yeah, we're gonna kick that out because I'm in there. But at the end, when it was discontinued in 2012, it consisted of running 1 mile, which is still a strong staple in most programs across the country, performing as many sieves as possible in 60 seconds, performing pull-ups or push-ups until failure, the choice of exercise being left to the proctor, a sitting flexibility test. Remember the sit and reach?
Yep.
And then a variant of the shuttle run. So when it was basically discontinued, that was what it was. But prior to that, there was varying degrees of it. So I mean, it brings up the question of like,
First of all, I just think that that's like a pretty decent test. Like, sure, you can poke holes in it, but I think in terms of like rounding out all your bases and like kind of having like a good like, hey, if you're doing well in all of those things, I think it's a pretty good test.
yeah, I mean, the only thing they could have added was the burpee test, and then we would have been all good to go. I mean,
This is true.
If they
The
had
minimum
added the
standard
train
being
hard burpee
3.
test, if they had added the train hard burpee test, it would have been perfect. That's all they needed. But yeah, it was good.
Dude, maybe we got to get the burpee test into the presidential fitness. Presidential fitness test,
I
bro.
may or may
call
not be-
Triple H. I want to call Triple H right now. What is
picture? Just pull up the picture.
Can
That is
we-
It's the most
How
epic
did-
picture of
how
all
did-
time.
Sometimes I feel like we live in a simulation.
Well, have you
because
we do.
seen some of the?
Because
no,
we
have
do.
you seen some of the memes and stuff on? Like,
what is Triple H doing at the White House? Is he about to give the
What was he
pedigree
actually?
to?
What was he actually doing? I need to look it up. I'm
I
looking
think
it up.
no. The reason why he was there, along with RFK and a variety of other people's, is that they are developing this committee. And if I'm not mistaken, he must be
Triple H on the committee.
Yeah,
he
Triple
must be on. I mean, Liz can look it up. I'm pretty sure he might be on the health and fitness committee.
What's going on, bro? Come on. I mean, I love Triple H. I love some good WWE, but like, I don't need to suplex our way into the next the next
Let me
fitness
see.
era. Dude, it's so funny. It's such
We'll
a
have
good
to look it
picture.
up.
It
Oh yeah,
is.
it's Presidential Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition. The reestablishment of the presidential fitness test. So I'm on the White
Jay,
House.
how come
website.
you didn't get the call? Dude, I'd have you over
So-
Triple H on the committee anytime. Burpee test would be in there if you were in the committee.
I really hope that over the next couple of months, I could share more insight on the progress we're making. I am
boy.
trying to get my foot in there.
Oh boy.
I am
Khalipa at the White House.
By the way-
I'm
Oh my God.
Not real.
have you
Dude,
seen
what a flex. Who cares? I'm not trying to make any
You have to go check
opinions
out the
on-
video if you want to know what the laugh was about.
Yeah, no political belief.
Did you know Triple H's
stuff
real
here,
name
but-
is Paul Levesque?
Yeah.
Did not see that coming.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would have thought his like real name was, but definitely not Paul Levesque.
I wonder
What a
how he came
flex
up-
to roll up with like WWE superstars around you if you're the president.
Yeah. I mean, but
So
the
weird.
president's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition, according to what I understand about what Trump has done, is that he wants to bring back this presidential fitness test,
Yeah.
but he's leaving it up to the president's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition to determine what that looks like. And I think that we have a really good opportunity, and I'm trying my best to get my foot in the door here because I think it's incredibly important that whatever this is as effective as possible. I don't think it's going to look exactly like it was before, but I'm sure it's going to be more structured than it currently is.
Dude, they just make it simple and accessible and like really easy things to perform. There's like, what are we making it so complicated about? Go out there and run a mile, have them do a couple of sets of push-ups, see how many they can get. Maybe do something that's a little bit shorter or sprinty, and then like let's move on with our day. Like let's set up some low standards and let's fucking try to blow past them.
Yeah, I think the key here is like by bringing back something like this, and I don't want to have this misconception. I think that for most adults who have kids, a lot of the PE programs they have stuff like our kids have been running a mile every year for as long as I can remember. So it's not like this stuff is completely gone. When the Obama administration came in, they changed it. I don't know if it's fair to say that we've removed all testing because from my experience, that has not been the case. There is still quantifiable measurable fitness tests occurring at least within the kids' schools that I'm aware of. Now, has it been adjusted? Is there more freedom? Is it maybe not as competitive?
I mean,
Perhaps.
I think what I know a lot of these things come down to is it also impacts the funding that a lot of like schools
I'm
and
sure.
stuff gets, right? Like if they remove that test, some schools that you might be aware of might still be running it because they have private funding to run those things. But if PE departments and these things are no longer a priority because they're no longer like literally something that's run at the federal level, the difference is that like those things are the last thing to be funded in a lot of school districts that are just trying to make ends meet. And I think that that's where the difference is. And the argument is in many cases those are the places where health needs to be the biggest priority, right? Because it's not really happening at home, it's not happening in the community. So school is the one place where they should be getting healthy food options like PE that takes physical activity seriously. And if that isn't like no longer a priority because we're quote unquote not trying to shame less fit kids, who does that end up impacting? I know that you're saying that at your schools you see it still running, but I think that's kind of a very different than what the case might be in most school districts.
I kind of have a quick hot take on this.
Give me the hot
I
take.
would rather the administration focus on changing the type of nutrition. Well, first of all, yeah, let's get those files out there, bro. The second thing, I would rather them focus on like pervasive change across the board in terms of in-school nutrition and have really high standards for in-school nutrition than worry about physical fitness testing. I would rather them focus on high standards for food and then just let the kids go play, bro. Just let them outside, like let them play. I honestly couldn't care less if we had fitness standards and we had better food and let the kids play. And that is just my gut reaction to this, but I think the food is the way bigger issue, way bigger issue.
Do you know that like even based on the current and I'll check this in a second just to make sure that I get it completely right, but I remember reading this recently that in order to qualify as like a fruit or veggie in the meal, the tomato sauce and pizza count towards that. So it's also like one of those things, MDV, where it's like it's just so impossible with food policy specifically to like there's just so many loopholes and so many just ways to like work around it.
Well, the money, right? It's expensive. So I think that where you're going to get caught up in that is with the nutrition. I mean, imagine if you're serving hundreds of thousands, millions of kids meals at public schools. And now we want to start adjusting. If you make these small adjustments, and I'm sure there's ways that adjustments can be made within like a confines of a budget. But MDV, I mean, I would actually like generally agree with you in the sense that I think if you were trying to make the largest impact across the board, is it incorporating a physical fitness test? I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a terrible thing, but here's one thing that I've noticed, at least with my observation with my children, is that, dude, if people aren't enjoying, and this goes for adults too, if you're not somewhat enjoying your experience, like it won't become a lifestyle adjustment. So like, I do think that's something like in PE, making it just go play, go outside, go do things, and then getting educated and looking at nutrition choices, there's something there. Now, do I think that a couple of times a year, bringing in some type of test to hold like the program accountable for like delivering results and looking at trends across many of millions of kids across the country, I think that could be helpful. But I think at the end of the day, yeah, the nutrition and then having fun and getting outdoors, I think is key, man. And we got to get the kids off the sedentary. I actually, that would be something I talked to Kelly Surrett about, is like, would we even have more bang for the buck if we said, hey, we're gonna have the kids stand in class or do for X amount of period? Like, where do you draw? I mean, what would drive the biggest return? I think
the whole model of having like young kids go into schools and sit for 8 hours a day and then just get out of their chairs for between class. I know it's changed quite a bit, but like you do a lot of sitting when you're in school, and kids have a lot of energy and they should be playing, they should be active. And I just think like if we really wanted to make changes, like we're gonna have to start making like some serious changes to things. And I don't think that it's like an excuse to say, oh, like we're too big or the system is too broken or whatever. Like there's other countries out there who have made changes to their school nutrition or the policies about play. And I think that would be the place that I would go. If I'm not a parent right now and I have goals to be a parent one day, but if I were a parent, man, I'd be focusing on my kids' attitudes and understanding of nutrition, like having them have an understanding of like these are quality foods and this is quantity, and you know you have some stuff over here that you have every once in a while, but really we want the main stuff to be this, and we want to play a whole lot or like live an active lifestyle, and I think that would be the most effective route, but
Yeah.
easier said than done.
To Jason's point, my hope would be, and you know, anything related to the government's kind of just a hope, that having something like this again would hopefully find districts or areas that are doing something right, because they can now measure the trends of these kids just like performing a little bit better in a really objective way that hopefully can then be, you know, like distributed to other districts, or like what are they doing, right? Like this is a district that doesn't have a bunch of funding, doesn't have a bunch of money. Like, is it the fact that they have a couple of PE teachers that are just super passionate? Is it that they're incorporating like, you know, functional fitness type stuff into their PE classes? I know there were some CrossFit gyms back in the day that were doing stuff like that. Like, my hope would be that if we are quantifying this stuff, we can find the little test cases that figured something out that we're not even figuring out, and can then just apply them, or at least share some best practices with other schools. That would be the hope, right?
Yeah, we draw attention because you can start measuring it. You know, I could make a strong argument. So you guys, I don't know if you guys remember this. This is maybe, I mean, this is a long time ago when we started adding the fitness prior for SAT scoring. And so what we did is myself along with the teacher ran an SAT program for students in high school. And what we did was we would have the students come, we would have them exercise, do a class with me, and then study with the teacher. And what we saw, I'd have to go back and look at the results, but like it was remarkable how much better these kids performed on a very quantifiable test. So basically we took their SAT scores, then what we did is we trained them through, at the time, CrossFit followed by SAT study prep, and then we retested them again. And it was fascinating to watch the way what we found was that these young boys and girls, their brains would be like receptive, their endorphins would be running, they would be prepared to consume, and it worked really well. I mean, I'd have to go back and look at the data, but long story short, we proved that exercise prior to studying seemed to help students retain the information more than just studying in general. And we had it like, we did it right. And it brings up this whole thing. Like if I was at the table, which I hope to one day be with these guys, I'd start asking like bigger picture questions. And like, this is a factor. I think we can quantify against it. The nutrition is another one. But just, I think the biggest disservice we're doing in schools is the fact, especially for young boys, that they're asked to sit in a chair for 8 hours a day. I think that above all else is the most difficult thing for me to wrap my head around, because like I wouldn't be able to sit in a chair for 8 hours. I'd go crazy. And is there a better way to get them movement, micro doses of that movement across many hours versus just like a 30-minute PE class? You know what I mean? That's what I'd start asking questions of, is like, is it like compounding interest for these kids throughout the day?
It's a huge problem, man. It's a huge problem specifically for boys. The other thing that I like about this, and this is just kind of my opinion on the whole, like, you know, the reason cited for taking it away was this whole discouraging, shaming, like, you know, not wanting to make kids that were underperforming on a percentile-based test feel bad. You know, the flip side of the argument that I do think that kids enjoy and can latch onto is when this was a big deal, the whole thing was that there was an award. Right? So like if you were within the 85th percentile of these scores, you got the Presidential Fitness Award. Your name went on a thing, you got a diploma, like there was like something, a carrot to chase. And I do think that sure, there are negatives to some people like going on a test and like underperforming, and will that, you know, potentially make them, discourage them even more from physical activity? There's definitely a case to be made there. But I do think that, you know, giving kids something to strive for, something black and white to strive for, is something that would have helped me for sure. Like I always know that I've worked that way. And I do think that there's some merit to that. Obviously it all comes to like, you know, how it's delivered, but I don't think that that's a bad thing at all. And I do think that bringing that back will help some kids that are just kind of like floating around here to want to improve, to want to be better, because there's like hey, I have to run this mile time, get this many push-ups, this many pull-ups, and I get that thing, and that thing is earned. It's earned through hard work and performance. And at the end of the day, like whether you black and white hit the marker or not, there's so many lessons built right into that right there, right? So that's another piece that I really like about this. And of course, always matters on the delivery and like, you know, is this thing made out to big deal? Is it like, hey, if you failed, go sit over there? And you're like obviously there's so much nuance to like how the individual goes and delivers this to like kids that are in a very, you know, like vulnerable time in their lives with their confidence and stuff, of course. But I do think that big picture, it's not as simple as, hey, this is just going to discourage the less fit kids. I think that there's a lot of kids that could be motivated by having something to strive for.
For sure. And I think we're kind of making an assumption that it's going to be the same test for all ages.
That's true. That hasn't been said at all.
This is going to be it should be age appropriate, bro. There should be like, at what grade do you start getting people tested? Like, we're not trying to put kindergartens into the fucking NFL combine. Excuse me, I didn't mean to curse. We're not trying to put kindergartners into the NFL combine.
Into the combine?
Yeah. Let's see how many reps you can get at 225.
That's a fantastic idea, though. Kindergartners like going through a combine time event would be fantastic. So,
like, what, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, start it, and like maybe 5th grade, start it. At whatever grade you start grading kids with academics, like, they're already used to that. Like, this whole argument about, oh, we don't want people to compare grades on physical fitness tests. Too bad. We compare grades on everything else. Literally, the whole system is set up in school to compare grades academically.
But on that note, hasn't there been a movement to like remove grades?
Yes,
there has.
For some, but I mean, you're ranked at some point. You're going to be ranked somewhere to get into something. You're going to take a test.
Yeah.
You're
right.
You're going to SAT. You're going to take a high school entrance exam. You're going to take whatever. You can't go through life without ever being compared to other people. It just doesn't work that way.
100% agree with you, which is why I think it is a disservice, the fact that schools are moving away from that stuff. And all they're doing, I think, is kicking the can down the road.
Can down the road, for sure.
I think when like you are actually going to be measured against your peers, and you're going to be like, wait, I've always been told that like we're all even. And it's like,
no. You're right. I think right now they're making a movement towards 3s and 4s. I think if I could be wrong, I got to double check. It's on a scale from 1 to 4, and they removed the A, B, C, D. This is just I'd have to go ask Ashley. I'm 99% sure. I know for a fact that in my son's classes, they are no longer getting A, B, C's, whatever. Okay. They are now saying, hey, the education parameter that you need to have to basically like move forward are these understandings and comprehensions of these skills. If you achieve those skills, you get a 3. If you are achieving higher than those skills, you get a 4. But there is no more like A, B, C or 80. Like it's very odd.
Hold on one second. It doesn't matter if you're saying A, B, C, or D, or 1, 2, 3, or 4. It's still the same thing, bro. The kids who are getting 1s are like, I'm the 1 kid. Like, of course, like,
no.
It doesn't matter. There's the whole semantics of trying to like argue our way around of like trying to figure out grading. It's so crazy. Is
old school going to turn pass fail?
Non-standard, standard-based grading scale. What is the difference?
So it's A,
so we
B,
dropped
C.
1 letter, so we just don't have a 0 anymore?
Little or no mastery.
Cannot demonstrate mastery, even with instructor. Little or no mastery.
I feel like that's more savage than being a D student.
Yeah, of course. Like,
at least if you're a D student, you're like, I don't know. The D student was always like the cool kid. Now you have a little or no mastery.
Why doesn't it say like understands the fundamentals or the basics well, but who worded these things, bro?
I don't know where they came from. I got to go back and go look at like
mastery.
on a parent teacher night. They shared us how they're moving in this direction. I couldn't remember what the justification was for it, but I just when they gave me the justification, I just like sat there. I'm like, whatever. I mean, like, okay, all right.
Like sometimes I scratch my head at like the idiots who we put in charge of things, man. It's just like, what is going on? Little or no mastery. That doesn't make any sense.
But I think a very fair point is that eventually in life, at some point, you will be compared to your peers, and you need to be prepared to overcome that adversity. Like there are moments where and maybe even step up to that adversity, right? Like we've talked about this. Ava has tryouts for water polo like in a week, and I'm sure there's going to be some type of grading scale, and that's okay. That's the way life is. Like, and there's going to be a starter and a not starter, and
For sure.
and you have to learn that from an early age. Like, there will be some of this. It just has to be done appropriately, and especially during these like so incredibly important years. But that goes down to the proctor and the individual delivering it, like a coach. You can have a great coach, you can have a terrible coach. You know.
So here's a question for you guys, because I looked up the President's Challenge qualifying awards. So to get the Presidential Physical Fitness Award representing the top 85th percentile in 1985, that's what I could find. And the hardest standards, we'll go by that, is for a 17-year-old. Because to your point, MD, you're saying like having kindergartners do this. They have
Get them on the bench
numbers.
press.
They have numbers for 6-year-olds. That's where it starts. Like, in order to qualify as a 6-year-old, you need to run a 10-15 mile. You need to be able to do 2 pull-ups, by the way, according to this, or 9 right angle push-ups for a 6-year-old in 1985. And this was based off the 85th percentile then. So take that as you will. But here's my question. Can you guys qualify for this award under the 17 age group, which is the toughest? So here's what you got to do. You need 53 push-ups or 13 pull-ups. There you go. 53 push-ups or 13 pull-ups. Your mile needs to be a 6:06. Sit and reach 41 centimeters. So how's your hamstring flexibility? And then the sit-ups, which they call curl-ups, which I think is so funny. 55 if you're doing full sit-ups in a minute. Dude,
Hold on. That's
anchored,
push-ups
right?
in a minute for 53.
No. This was just an unbroken set. The pull-ups or push-ups are just how many can you do in an unbroken set.
Those are pretty legit numbers to be honest. I mean, if there's any sort of standard or range of
They're
motion
pretty
associated
legit.
with 53 reps of a push-up, then that's pretty. I think it was like a
Or a
fist
606
underneath
mile?
your sternum or something. A 606 mile is moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason
Dude,
trained
let's-
for a while to break 6. I mean,
Yeah, but here's what's interesting about this. So look at these numbers. So you go age group 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, right? And as it goes, let's just take the curl ups, for example. It starts off at 33 for a 6-year-old. Then it goes 36, 40, 41. Naturally, you'd assume that it goes up as you get older, 45, 40, 50, 53. And then all of a sudden,
oh yeah,
from
I didn't even
age
notice that.
15 to 17, it drops. So it goes from
But
50
only in the sit-ups.
and then again at the curl ups and partial curl ups.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
just
you're
the
right.
sit-ups.
Only
We're talking about
only
one
curl
rep
ups.
there, gents. 56,
Again,
57, 56.
This is just based, so these numbers are based off of like the 85th percentile of a bunch of people testing it. So I think there's 2 interesting angles here. One is like, dude, do you guys think the average 15, 16, 17-year-old is hitting these numbers now? This is the
No.
85th percentile. It's not even 99th percentile of 1985. Like,
That's pretty legit,
these
man.
kids were
Very
fit back
legit.
then. Kids
Yeah.
were super fit
I'd say
back
the one
then.
that would be the. I don't know if I'd pass this because of the sit and reach.
Right, because to pass, you also have to hit the standard on all 5. So pull-ups or push-ups, 1 mile run, sit and reach or the V-sit reach, which I'm not sure what that is, shuttle run, and then curl-ups or partial curl-ups. So,
The V-sit reach is just your legs spread into a V.
okay.
Oh. Yeah,
And
and
then
the other one is like
this-
I remember the
sit-
box.
Sit and reaches together?
Sit and reach is like with the thing that you have to move, right? Like the little
Yeah, it's like a
slide
box.
on the
You, like
wooden
put your
thing.
you like
Your
put
feet,
in
are
like a
straight
box.
ahead of you, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Liz, can you scroll down? There's standards. Oh, let's go. This is like a open announcement score sheet.
Curl
Oh, yeah,
up.
so yep,
Look at
curl
that.
up is with your feet planted with a partner holding, which makes sense.
This is like what we
Partner-
did at the SRT thing. Jay.
Yes, CBP. Yep.
Oh, look at this picture. This is
Shuttle run,
fantastic.
85.
Look at
Let's
this guy.
go.
Hmm.
Wow.
Dude, these kids were fit.
Yeah, they were.
Dude,
kids
getting
were super
getting
fit.
13 strict pull-ups.
Yeah.
17.
Well, it looked like I mean that's legit.
Legit.
And then
for
ripping a
sure.
606 mile.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
The
look at that
V-sit.
sit and reach. Look at that. Look how far that girl is reaching. I can't even get my toes like that. I mean,
Oh,
and look, the other
dude.
person's holding down her knees so they don't bend. I remember doing this in.
You're not presidentially fit, man. That's
dude,
the
I'm not
challenge for
presidentially
next
fit.
Triple
week.
H is
We
going
have
to
a
body
week.
slam you through a table when you show up to the White House. He's gonna
There's
put
no
you in
way.
the sit
There's
and
no
reach.
way Triple H can touch his toes.
Triple H is gonna put Jason into the pedigree and do it through a table.
So the word on the street is I'm heading out there in October. That's the word on the street. But
Oh man,
I don't know. We'll
NDA is
see.
being violated all over the place.
I need a water bottle spray moment with you and Triple H.
Oh man, let's see what happens. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, that should be, dude. I mean, hey, look, I think it's fun to discuss this thing, but I think in all seriousness,
It's a good
I am
step.
just really happy that there's time and attention being put on this, and everybody from
That's
all
the
over
win.
is going to have
That's the
their
win.
opinions, right? But you can't grow or change or evolve something that you're not even thinking about. And so the sheer fact that we're having this conversation and many other people are across this country, I think is a really powerful thing. And I just hope that the right thing comes to light, or at least a better thing. And then it'll get better and better and better. Yeah. That's where I'm at with it.
You can't debate the fact that a conversation around this at the national level, which has never been the case, is a bad thing. No matter how you feel about the administration, about RFK, about whatever, like we are talking about kids need to be fit, we need to be fit, nutrition's a problem, like all of these things are conversations, and how can that be a bad thing? Can't.
Yeah.
Nicotine.
All right. Nicotine.
Yeah, finally getting to it.
Caffeine and
as
nicotine, let's go.
Pre-workout, man.
I mean, so the best pre-workout in the world. You know what I'm going to say?
Do you guys take any pre-workout? Or Jay, I'm curious. I know you probably don't now, aside from coffee, but even in your like heyday, did you ever take anything that was like a quote unquote like sold and marketed as a pre-workout?
Honey and coffee, baby. Honey
That's
and
it.
coffee. That's it. Even now, I've been adding in. So like this morning, for example, I've been on the road and my clock has been all off. But I got up this morning. I train hard. I train early. I dedicate myself to that. And I was like, dude, you know what? I'm gonna hit coffee. I'm gonna have my honey, and I go and train, and I felt great. But what I think what's changed for me is that I'm definitely I tried the BPN, the glucose stuff, Gabe. I just for some reason I like the morning routine of having coffee, and by adding honey, I feel like it gives me a little bit of a sugar, natural kind of like source that I could use for some energy before my workout. So that's what I've been doing, and then getting in protein right after. But yeah,
I mean, I think it's pretty universally understood that carbs and caffeine to fuel a workout are just like no-brainers.
we should make a
in
shirt:
many
carbs,
ways.
caffeine, curls. You know, like that's it. That's all you need.
And then I
flex
think
shirt.
that it just becomes majoring in the minors if you're doing that with a pre-workout, if you're doing that with coffee and honey, if you're doing that with some fruit, if you're doing that with whatever. Do you ever train on no coffee though, or no caffeine?
Very rarely in the mornings. You mean like? So I don't drink coffee past like noon, and I train a lot afternoon, and I don't drink coffee before jiu-jitsu. So if I'm doing jiu-jitsu in the morning, I don't drink coffee. My heart rate spikes too much. I feel like it's just too much. So after 12 o'clock, I personally don't consume coffee. So if I train after 12, which is very common for me, I won't drink coffee before. Coffee for me isn't so much about like the stimulant. It's more about just the habit. If you talk about having a crutch and something you lean on, it's definitely a crutch and something I lean on. Like I really enjoy the flavor of coffee to start my morning, and I feel like it sets me up for success. More so than I need like this adrenaline jump.
Yeah, it's very ritual based. I mean, making a cup of coffee is very, very ritual based. I think that there's an allure to the smell, there's an allure to the heat of it. It's a very good morning beverage because of the caffeine that's in it. You know, I think that it checks a lot of boxes for me. I do drink it before a workout. I don't drink coffee past like around noon either anymore. And even sometimes past 10 a.m., I notice that my sleep gets pretty heavily disrupted. But it's basically just coffee for me. I don't take any pre-workout stuff anymore.
Have you ever?
I mean, I've tried pre-workout. There was always like somebody always had like this neon green. It looked like it was made in like a secret laboratory somewhere. It had like a caution symbol
You're
and a
gonna turn into
skull
Hulk.
on it. And you just take a scoop of like this neon powder and you like mainlined it on your tongue. And James Hobart was usually the one who was running around with all the different types of pre-workout. He was a big
Nice.
pre-workout guy, big energy drink guy for sure.
Dude, I told you the guy that we gave a sample of NO Explode at the gym to, and we had to call the ambulance. We had to call the ambulance to come and get. He thought he was having a heart attack, legit.
For sure.
Yeah, and I mean, after that day, I'm like, never again will I give any pre-workout to anybody. I mean, not that I really took it. It's just a buddy of mine had NO Explode, gave it to this guy. It was a bad experience.
Yeah, whether it's like caffeine, B vitamins, taurine, beta alanine, whatever, it's all in there, and it's just like straight to your veins.
Well, yeah, they feel like a tingle, right? And they're like, oh, I'm having a heart attack. And the guy's like on like the treadmill. So we called the ambulance.
Dude, I love the beta alanine tingle. Like that to me is just like a signal of I'm about to go like rip some heavy ass weights. I look for that in whatever pre-workout I'm getting.
I don't know
There's
what that
something
feels
about-
like, Gabe. I don't
never
think I've
had-
ever experienced that. No.
I'm curious if I don't know if you would know if you've ever had actual beta alanine. It's not in all pre-workouts. It's in some. And they sell it as like a standalone. It was funny when Matt Frazier was on Rogan. He talked about it. He specifically said that it felt like it gave him a third lung, and you saw like the uptick on Google Trends for beta alanine searches after that episode because such a big podcast, and you have the CrossFit Games champion talking about it. But it I think it vasodilates a little bit, so it just makes your like little capillaries open up, so it gives you like a face tingling that some people like hate. Makes me feel like I need to go work out. So I enjoy it.
So what's the deal here with nicotine? Because we were getting close to not talking about nicotine at all.
We're getting so I got a question from someone who's basically just saying like, dude, what's the deal? This sounds crazy. I think that, many of us have always associated nicotine with smoking. It's one of the bad things that makes cigarettes addictive. Obviously, there's all different ways to get nicotine now. And for me, a lot of it, perception-wise, was, oh, okay, you quit smoking, so you started doing nicotine gum or nicotine patches just to kind of like get out of the bad health effects of like actually smoking, like puffing smoke. But, the nicotine is a difficult addiction to break. But I never really like thought one way or another that like, hey, that's really bad for you. I do know that like chewing tobacco isn't great for you and it's been associated with mouth cancer. So like as an outsider looking in, I've never associated it with something that like, oh, I want to do that for these purported benefits. But like earlier this year, I did start seeing like the biohacker community, if you will. Specifically, I'm blanking on his name, Ben Greenfield.
Yep.
Start pushing like nicotine toothpicks, like microdosing like 2-3 milligrams for like deep work and deep focus. And that was just like interesting. I didn't look into it too much, but I always am really big on self-experimentation, and it just seemed interesting, like, hey, to focus and whatever. But I never even pulled the trigger on that just because I personally have like an addictive personality. So like that's a big red flag for me, something that's quote unquote addictive. Like I just don't think it's worth me like trying it. But then now, and you mentioned it on another episode, Jay, they're starting to market it for its athletic and pre-workout benefits, which kind of makes sense. Like the reason the caffeine is both something that people take before they're going to go to work and before working out is because it increases focus. You like feel more awake, you feel more alert. So it makes sense to me conceptually that now it could be marketed as something that, could potentially help with workouts. Really quick, I looked up like what the purported benefits are, and increased alertness and focus, reduced perceived effort, so reduced RPE, mild pain modulation, potential fat oxidation boost, speculative, and rapid onset. So you get that effect pretty quick, even quicker than if you were to take down a pre-workout and have to wait 30 minutes for that to take impact. And then obviously the downside is the fact that that's addiction potential, cardiovascular strain, stuff like that. So that's kind of just based off some really quick research, but I'm curious your guys' thoughts, experience. What do you think?
So just breaking it down,
Break it
the
down.
most popular
Triple H.
form of nicotine right now that I'm aware of. Well, let me back up. The most popular form of nicotine for many, many years, obviously, was smoking cigarettes, right? And I was doing a podcast about maybe 8 years ago, and this guy was using he was like vaping, but like just straight nicotine. And he was talking to me about the benefits of nicotine. This is a while ago. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like he wanted me to partake in this like the clean version of nicotine. I was like, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm whatever. Fast forward all these years. And now what's became very popular are the Zins and the pouches. And so I think what most people are talking about in regards to nicotine pre-workout, and I see this tremendously in the law enforcement space, like it's everywhere, is the Zins and the nicotine pouches. So I think in particular, that's what I'm referring to when I share this. And they have milligram doses that range from 1.5, which is the lowest dose that I've seen, up to 40 if you get them from Sweden directly, which some people fly in logs that's
such a range.
It is a huge range. In general, what you can get from like a liquor store or whatever, in general, they're 6s and 9 milligrams, and the most popular brand that I'm aware of is Zins. So again, big range of milligrams. I know a lot of people who use these on a regular basis, and I have more to share on that. But MDV, were you going to say something on that? Is it? No.
I mean, this is going to be one of those things that just catches wildfire if it hasn't already with youth and youth sports. 100%. This is the same thing that happened with Skull and Dip back in like the mid 90s, late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, but
it was
even that was
everywhere, bro. It was everywhere. Everybody had a tin on them at the high school sports level, pretty much all time. At least the environment that I grew up in on Long Island and where we were playing and training, a lot of people were dipping for sure.
So I dipped, and then they came out with tobacco pouches.
The pouches came out next.
Because, dude, I'd be in class dipping. I'll never forget. And it was just gross. Like, dude, you got like shit in your teeth.
Had fiberglass in it and stuff.
Oh, it was bad. And I remember when I was in high school, this one called Grizzly came out. And instead of it being like $5 a can, it was 50 cents. And anyway, fast forward where we're at today, it's a much cleaner option, maybe from a chemical perspective, I assume, but also just like one of the reasons why I am concerned from a youth sports perspective, MDV, is that it's not as disgusting anymore. So it's kind of like, hey, it's just like a clean little pouch. There's nothing.
You see them everywhere on the ground, bro. Like if you walk around any sport fields, or if you're walking around even on like the beach over here, you see these little pouches all over the ground. People just take them out and just flick them, man.
So one area that I think is something to discuss is the appetite suppressant. And then the addictiveness. So from my experience and from talking to a lot of people who do this on a regular basis, the most negative thing that I've seen is that you can start off with like a 1.5 or 3, but then the 3 doesn't give you the same sensation. So then you jump to 6, and then you jump to 9, and then you find yourself putting in 2 9s, and then you find yourself. So that's definitely a big negative that I would encourage people, if they're interested in this, to like be hyper aware of.
Do you know, just based off like, you know, the people that you've, like, how quick is that process though? Relatively speaking. I know it's going to be individual from person to person, but like
not years, over months.
I mean, that's pretty fast.
And culturally, I just see this, like, I was so shocked. I was at the police department the other day, and I mean, dude, it was like, you could see it in everybody's pocket. It was just all over the place. It was like, it was fascinating to me how it's become like this thing. And I'm not here to pass
I let those guys do whatever they want to do. Like within the realm of reason, if they want to put some Zins in their mouth and that keeps them alert and it keeps them on their game and it keeps them sharp and they're focused, bro, I have no problem with that. Law enforcement, military, those guys, thank you for all your service. Do whatever you guys want to do in that regard. Keep us safe. Abide by the rules. But the Zin thing doesn't bother me at all for Leo.
The red flag is the kids, like you were saying, right? Yeah. I think that it permeating high school sports and stuff is it's a slippery slope, and it's a slippery slope that young.
But I mean, that's the same thing.
Athletes are doing it all the time. Athletes are on field with this all the time.
You can have kids that's the same thing as like Juul and crushing the presidential fitness test.
Yeah, but that's the same thing as like Juul getting sued for, you know, like, where do you draw the line, right? I mean, people need to make their own decisions. And
you said I think from Juul, the musician?
No, Juul, like Juul, the e-cigarette brand that got sued for $100 million or more because they were marketing flavors to kids. And
I mean, this is the playbook as old as time.
It's just there's a lot of obviously, dude. There's a lot of nuance here and a lot to talk about. But I think at the end of the day, what my experience has been with nicotine prior to pre-workout is that I tried a 5 for the first time. I was told to keep it in for 5 minutes. I kept it in for like 2 minutes. Felt weird. Spit it out. Just felt weird. My head was weird. So then I tried it again. Same thing. Then I tried a 3. That was better, but I still felt weird. I left it in for like 5-6 minutes. And then I tried the 1.5s that come from that Athletic Nicotine company, just because I'm genuinely curious. And what I found in the 1.5s is that I did feel the things they're talking about, right? The attention, the this or that, which made me a little bit nervous. And so now I'm like, I'm good. I'm good.
Addicted? Are you addicted, bro?
Well, I didn't want to like it because the thing is, I don't want to feel that way necessarily because I don't want to turn from 1.5s to 3s to 5s to whatever's. So that's been my experience so far. But the appetite suppressant part of it, I think, is going to be really interesting in the future for people with their weight loss goals, because nicotine can also act as a
For sure.
appetite suppressant.
There's a
And so
huge,
there's some people
part
that-
of people smoking cigarettes for so long.
A huge part of people,
Whether or not that was the real reason they were smoking or not, but that was a reason why people would smoke cigarettes for sure, to avoid eating, to suppress their appetite.
Well, and you'd see people who tried to quit cigarettes end up gaining a lot of weight, right? Because they had something. I think that this, just like online gambling, just like anything else we could talk about on this show, like obviously you need to figure out what works for you, and it can't just become this like thing that you're overly dependent on. But from the guys that I've experienced this with, they feel more locked in when they have a Zyn pouch in. Now, are they going to feel that same way a year from now? Or are they going to feel like, hey, man, this was a newer thing. I did it for a couple of years, but it got too much? Or are they going to feel like, dude, this is still something that I could regulate. I like it. Hasn't given me any negative health side effects. I don't know.
The interesting thing about it, too, just doing a little bit of research on it, is there's going to be people that are very sensitive to caffeine and can't do caffeine that will find the same benefits from nicotine. And that's kind of like a use case for some people. Like the person you were talking about, I don't know if that's the case for them, but you gave them a little bit of pre-workout and had to call the ambulance because it was really weird. Some people just can't handle caffeine because they work on 2 different receptors. The TLDR on it is basically caffeine, and I knew this about caffeine, blocks the receptors for something that makes you sleepy. That's why they say that, like, if you're super tired, you're kind of kicking the can down the road if you're having caffeine, because you're just blocking the adenosine receptors that eventually make you very sleepy. But nicotine directly stimulates stuff like dopamine, norepinephrine, and neurotransmitters. So it's not blocking a thing that makes you tired. It's actually actively releasing the things that make you feel focused and energized, if that makes sense. So they work very differently. So people that can't do caffeine might have a very similar impact through nicotine, but can actually like feel the benefits versus like being overly sensitive to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. The nicotine conversation is really one that I want to continue to talk to people about, because I've talked to a lot of people who have a really positive experience with nicotine before workouts and throughout the duration of the day. But is that like
Would
a
it be
long-term
something-
thing?
Is it something that's banned? Like, I mean, I can look it up, but I wonder, like, how regulated is this stuff in terms of like
Flavoring in California is regulated.
No, but like in terms of performance enhancing, or is it
Oh, I don't
just
know.
not?
I don't
How
know.
old do you have to be to buy this stuff? Do you have to be
18.
16, 18? You have to be 18?
It's probably the same as cigarettes, right? I mean, I think. So I'm on the Athletic Nicotine website right now, and
Yeah.
because I'm trying to taste victory, which we talked about last
Dude.
couple episodes ago. They require me to be 21, but I think you have to be 18.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, but performance enhancing is really. In the United States, must be 21 years old to buy Zyn nicotine pouches. Oh, did they change the legal age from 18 to 21?
Yo, that's a little messed up, I think. Whatever age you should, whatever age you're allowed to join the military at, you should be allowed to buy a pack of cigarettes and to go have a beer. Like, if you're allowed to go around with an
Wait,
M16,
is cigarettes not 18 anymore?
it says 21.
That's what it said. Jeez.
Yeah.
So did that just
What age can you join the military? 16, 18?
I think it's 18.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fascinating too. I mean, there's a whole slew of conversations based on that, but like, I wonder where nicotine will fall on the performance enhancing. And then even if you had that, how would you even, you can't test for that. Like,
Yeah. I'm sorry. I got a real problem. I got a problem with that, man. I got a problem with letting people who are 18 years old, we're going to say that they, and I want to thank everybody who has taken that leap at that age. I think that that's a very bold move. I think it takes a lot of courage. It wasn't in the cards for me, but to say that an 18-year-old can go and serve your country and then not be able to buy a Zins is kind of crazy.
yeah, it says with parental consent, they could join at 17, 18 without parental consent.
Yeah.
I didn't know that
It's a weird
the
flex.
age was, I didn't know the age was 21. That's
So
I would try because
The
what's the
athletic one?
dosage on the athletic ones?
the athletic one is 1.5. And
Yeah.
from my experience so far with the 1.5, it has been very mild.
Did
The
you take that
only-
before the burpee test?
I didn't take it before the burpee test. I think if I took it before the burpee
Might
test, I
help.
would have gotten 42.
Might have.
we had someone do a legit 41 rounds on the burpee test. Have you
Yeah.
seen any other 40 scores come in? Shout
I
out
haven't
to Bob White. Bob White,
White.
he's an animal, bro.
Let's go.
I've seen
41
some-
rounds.
There
Is
was one
this-
girl who sent me that she did 38 rounds of 12. I was like, I mean, that's
That's
legit.
pretty legit. Whoever did that, that's amazing.
But a lot of
Now
people
we
are
got to go
doing
for
the-
15. Now we got to see if you can get to the 25 to 30 range with 15.
Is this like
Probably can.
Is this controversial to say that you can you see someone like Bob White say, "Hey, I got 40," and then you click on his profile and you're like, "All right, that tracks," versus like you could definitely see someone say 40 and you go on their Instagram and you're like, I need to see that.
There's no doubt in my mind that Bob White got 41
yeah.
rounds.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen.
I
I
had to
haven't
see his
clicked on
profile
any-
for 2 seconds and I was like,
The dude is
Probably
a
got 40.
freak, bro. The dude is such a freak. He's also so tall too, which is interesting. He's a taller athlete, but he just throws down regularly so hard and does these very, very tough conditioning workouts. And he's such a nice guy too. He definitely we got to get Bob White into the train hard community, man, because he is out there just crushing it.
Huh.
Anyway.
Yeah, I've been hit up by a lot of people who've done the burpee test. In general, like any score that you see that's crazy high, it checks out. I will say though, also people who fail at minute 8, 9, 10, like it checks out too. Like, dude, there's a lot of really fit people who can't get past minute 7 or 8. It's just they haven't tested it before. They're not used to it. I mean, I was with a group of guys this last weekend and having a hard time getting past minute 5.
Because
hip
slamming
and
your chest
hamstring
into the ground
flexibility.
15 times on the minute is tough for people to do if they're not used to, especially if you're hitting the ground hard. If you hit the ground hard during this workout at all, it's definitely takes an impact on your breathing, on the overall, like just the difficulty of the movement for sure. There's a flow to this workout that you have to master.
Yeah, I mean, you know what helps though? So Caden, he did 8 minutes the other day, just like kind of. I'm. He's done 10 a while
Honestly,
ago.
I'm impressed that Caden did 8 minutes on that.
Yeah, but he's short.
That's legit.
So, dude, watching.
He's a bigger kid.
Oh yeah,
He's like a sturdy baseball catcher. He's like a couple of days away from being in the pros and putting a Zins
Yeah.
in it.
But because he's shorter, he does like this like. He does something that allows him to get 8 minutes. But yeah, I agree. He is the burpee test again. We've talked about this countless times on the show, but it's an EMOM. Normally we're looking for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes. But the guys and I put out a challenge to see how far you can go doing 15 burpees every minute on the minute. And the standard
so
is no
failure.
jump, no clap. I'm actually gonna do a video about that today. That like, dude, don't get wrapped up. Go to the ground, stand back up again, and repeat 15 times in a minute for as long as you can. Somebody's going to get 50 minutes. I know it's going to happen.
Bro, I'm telling you, Truett Haynes or David Goggins, you have to get somebody who's got like insane capacity and then just the ability to shut their mind off and
David
go through-
Goggins.
Dude,
Yeah.
I think Truett Haynes might be one of the fittest
Truett Haynes
fittest
is a
people.
robot.
I don't know who that
It
is.
doesn't even make sense. It's Cam
Dude.
Cam Haynes' son
He's run like a 2:40 marathon
in jeans, bro. in
Oh,
jeans.
Cam's son.
Yeah,
He,
and
he
also-
did
he
10,000
pull-up
pull-ups.
record.
Oh,
pull-up record.
yeah. I didn't know that was his son. Okay.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I've been asking you to
Beast.
tag him in a post for like weeks, bro. You got to get
Oh.
this guy to do this test. He's out there running 130 miles a week just because he can run through pain. It's crazy, bro. It's insane.
There's a clip of him because, like one thing is like, hey, you're running in jeans for like whatever shits and giggles, but he's ripping like 240 in jeans, which is like fast, dude. Like you're running sub 6-minute miles at that point for a marathon, and there's this awesome clip
insane.
where he's passing a guy at a marathon, and like at that speed, like you're passing legit runners. So this guy's like decked out, like looks like a runner, and you get passed by this guy in jeans with wired headphones, like unreal. Such a good clip. But he's a freak, man.
Wait, he had wired
Freak.
headphones on too?
Yeah. Wired headphones with like something like coming out of his pocket and jeans.
The
Ripping a 240
10,000
marathon.
10,000 pull-ups in a day is like 8 reps a minute every minute the entire day. That is like, bro, even for me, I've done more. I'm probably in the top 1% of human beings who has ever done pull-ups and push-ups in the world. Like I've done a lot of this movement. This guy's probably above me. I can't fathom how that's possible for that long. Doing 8 reps a minute every minute for 24 hours.
Wait, so is this like a promotion? They're real jeans. Is it a promotion for a?
He's just
for
a man
jean
after my
company?
own heart and trains in jeans. Let's go.
But those are like some skinny jeans, dude. Those
Those
are.
definitely look like those are painted on a little bit too much.
Dude, look at
We need
this
him. We need him running in some American Eagle jeans. I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
but look at
I'm
that
kidding.
stride, dude.
Oh,
I wish I could run that
kidding.
well. Man,
Truett's got great jeans for sure.
I wish I could do that. One day I'll get back on the run. I mean, I'm doing High Rocks in December, so I mean, I gotta start getting in some more running. We'll
You got to
see.
focus on jujitsu, bro.
Well, yeah. I mean, I got a
Master
jiu-jitsu
Worlds.
tournament in like 2 weeks, so I better. Man, I grappled with this kid the other day. So I'm traveling for some work stuff I had to do, and this kid shows up, and he's 19 years old, and he's wearing a wrestling shirt. I'm like, okay, like this guy's a wrestler. And as soon as we start grappling, I'm like, oh, you're like a 19-year-old jacked wrestler. And he turns out he had been doing jiu-jitsu from the age of 6. Then he went to college for wrestling, and now he's a blue belt, right? But he's
Okay.
he's
A blue belt.
he's not a blue belt, right? Like,
No,
I mean,
no,
yeah,
like he's not a blue belt.
no,
He's
because
a
you
blue
can't-
belt, but he's not. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't get real belts until you turn 16. Like, not real belt. That's not the right term. You can't get the blue,
Official
purple,
ranking.
brown, like
Yeah.
those ones until you turn 16. So this kid, I mean, bro, he's got 10 years before that point, and then now he's a college wrestler. Yeah, man, I was like, dude, this kid, I was like, man, this is the next generation of grapplers coming up.
Yeah, that was like when Nicky Rod and J Rod and Helena Carver all came into the jiu-jitsu scene. Like those guys came in with not a lot of official ranking, but with so much pedigree and so much jiu-jitsu and so much wrestling that it's just like you're grappling somebody who's well beyond the rank that they're currently at.
For
And
sure.
that can be tough when you're showing up to a competition, you get steamrolled. But because J Rod was a blue belt when he won ADCCs,
Yeah.
Oh my god.
he submitted everybody all the way to the end as a blue belt. It was a wild run,
Yeah.
wild.
There's levels to the game. Speaking of which,
Producer
I don't know if we
Liz
said
got
this on the show.
clip of
Shout out
J-Rod
to
with
Mason
the-
Fowler for being the first, I think it's light heavyweight champion of UFC Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, and Chael Sonnen called out Gordon Ryan versus Mason Fowler. He wants to see it.
Dude.
He wants to
Hey.
see Gordon Ryan and Mason Fowler go at it.
Is UFC gonna take over BJJ? Like, is it gonna, or are they gonna own the popularizing the sport? Is that where that's going?
Craig Jones is
looks-
doing a whole lot with his stuff. You know, he's got a big personality, a big brand, a big competition, and UFC seems like they're kind of angling to do the same.
Yeah, I think
It'll be interesting to see
it-
how it all
it's-
shakes out.
It's great for the sport. If I'm UFC, I see a huge market there because, you know, it's like right outside what UFC is, and it's just like it's a great fit. I don't know. We'll see. We'll
It's
see.
all going to be no-gi.
Oh, yeah.
That's the area I think that like ADCC didn't catch up fast enough to like the modern no-gi game, and there other people came in and really like did it well. The Craig Jones Invitational is amazing. You're going to see UFC jiu-jitsu be amazing, and now you have a lot of competitors with the no-gi space.
Yeah. Well, we got a couple of weeks before I will be competing in the gi, which is a much different game. Not better, not worse, just much different. So that should be interesting. All right, gentlemen. Well, hey, we broke down the presidential fitness test the best we could. We hit up the pre-nicotine workout, and let us know what you guys think. Oh, happy 200th episode. Oh, this is the 200th episode of the Jason Khalipa Podcast. Is that what it is? So, man, I've had AMRAP Mentality podcast, Business of Fitness podcast, and now with Jason Khalipa Podcast, 200th episode. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, MDV. Thank you, Gabe. Hope everybody has a great day, and see you guys again next week.